Just give me a shout if you need me. I will be right here.
Welcome to your Cavity forecast. Got yourself a chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms today for the windward and southeast.
Okay, unmute your mic, please.
Okay, no problem.
Just a second.
Hi, Kandisha. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. We're just gonna give everybody else a few minutes to join. Just about 2 or 3 minutes, okay? And then we'll
Okay.
start. Okay. Okay, I see persons popping on right now. Okay. Okay, I hope everybody is having a good day. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. See if I can fix this. Okay, so today we're just going to have review, and I would have sent out a review sheet on Sunday. Did everybody receive it?
Yes.
Yes, I got it. Yes.
Okay. So basically, on that sheet would be the topics. Miguel, can you allow me to share my screen, please? Basic on that review sheet would be the topics that will be covered on the exam, and as soon as Miguel permits, I'll share the screen so I can pull it up. But everybody has a copy, and I had asked that you review it and come prepared to have a discussion, because I don't exactly know what areas you may want extra help in, or if you may have questions. And so the purpose of this time, or our last and final class before the exam, is to just go over the review sheet. If you have any questions, let me know from your research so far. Whatever questions you may have come up with. But if what I would do is I would start with there's 10 multiple choice questions, and then there are 2 essay questions. And of course, from throughout the course, we have had essays on customer service, on what would we change about ourselves, how do we contribute to corporate culture, what do we need to do differently, the ombudsman scheme, and then I think lastly, our last essay was on the presentations. Now, I know most persons had an issue with the essays, or saying that, I'm not too familiar, or I may need some extra help. And what was decided was that the way to give you extra help is to give you, I tried to, just get 1 essay in there, but it's 2. And the only way that you learn is by practicing. And so I said, okay, then fine. And again, I feel that you would have gotten sufficient information and you are well equipped. And from the grades, all of the grades have been fairly high. And so therefore, I am more than confident that, again, with the final exam, you will be prepared and still attain the same good grades that you have had throughout the course. And so the first essay, of course, is going to be around customer service. And my comments are on the midterm. What I found was that we had a discussion about the midterm and possibly how I would answer a question on the midterm if it was in essay form regarding customer service. And what I saw, and also the cross marker saw, was exactly what I said on the recording, because it was recorded, was what persons relayed back in their essay. And not that it was incorrect, but there was nothing else added outside of, or nothing much different added outside of what I said. And both of us felt like the question is not being addressed. The question is not being answered. And so therefore, again, my favorite saying is that we don't test memory, we test understanding. And so we want to ensure that you comprehend. And by comprehending, you have to read the question 2 or 3 times, just a recommendation, and ensure that you answer the question and not just, put a lot of fluff in there or some relevant information that's applicable, but you don't fully answer the question. Because I think even in one of the homeworks, it asked specifically, what would you change? What would you do? And a lot of persons wrote about toxic behavior and what happens at work, and that it's a problem throughout many institutions, but no, 1 or 2 persons missed the part where what would you do or what changes that you would make, even with the mission statement, how would you improve it? 1 or 2 persons said, I would not improve it. Okay, so that's fine. However, if you were to improve it, what would you do? And persons would have missed that part. And so I'm just saying all of this so that when you do get into the exam and you see those essay questions, most of the time there are 3 parts and there are 3 questions in 1 question. It should be worth about 15 points. And so therefore, for you to get full points, please ensure that not only what we discussed that you relay, like when we talked about quality care, but also look at the question and please ensure that you answer it. And if it's in 3 parts, like how the midterm was, where the first part talked about the ombudsman scheme, you should mention that. The second part talked about the reviews that were done, employee opinion surveys that were coming in. So then you should have touched on that. And then the third part touched on what would be your action plan and what would you change. And so for the most part, 1 or 2 persons touched on ombudsman, what it was and the relevance. But I didn't get anybody answering the part in the essay where you put an action plan in place and said that, perhaps I will give them, this is my action plan. First of all, I have to ensure that everybody hands in their employee opinion survey, so I make it mandatory. And then I will follow up with them. I will offer training where there are deficiencies, and I will also then, review or follow up with them to ensure, give proper oversight to ensure that they carry out the action plan that they put in place. Okay, so that was like the type of things that we had expected to see in that essay. Okay, is that clear? And I'm speaking of the essay from the final, from the midterm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, that's clear.
Okay, so for the essays, again, just make sure you read the questions and you answer all the parts, and that's how you get full points. Okay, and so of course, like I said, what I gave at the end of the presentations on Thursday was somewhat of a practice test for, so that part in terms of what is required for the second essay. Of course, it's going to be on the marketing mix or the 5 Ps. And again, like I say, it's not going to be exactly, I couldn't give you the exact question, but I gave you that question so that when you get into the exam, there are no surprises. I allowed that time. So if you had questions from the other groups, you would have used that time to ask questions to get sufficient information. So when you reach into the exam, you said, okay, I've seen this before. This is not a surprise. I can comprehend and I can answer this question properly. Okay, and I am saying all of this is because I have decided to, for the final exam, so that there's no back and forth or no, controversy regarding any more results. I've decided that I will not mark the final exam, but normally it's marked by myself and then the cross marker, and I normally mark second. So the cross marker, I can determine what the final grade is, but I've decided that there will be a cross marker and a second person that will mark the exam. And so I don't give out grades in any event. I'm not allowed to. And so should there be any queries or concerns regarding your grade, you can contact the office directly, and the office will be able to, go through any discrepancies if there should be any. Okay, and normally it takes about 2 weeks turnaround, 1 week for the first person to mark, a second week for the second person. But it's the pandemic, and I'm not certain how the institute is operating right now in terms of the cross marking. And so 2 to 3 weeks the max, you should be able to contact the office and get your grade. Okay. Okay, so in terms of questions, so on the sheet, of course, the first thing I have is explain the different types of customers, explain the 6 core competencies, explain what banks have done to enhance customer service. And I read over the exam to make sure it said explain and give examples, because a lot of persons argued also that it really didn't say give examples. But what you should do is when you see a question, if you want to ensure that you get full points, you want to make sure if there's a question and it says more than 2 points, more than likely they want you to give an example, okay? But I perused it to ensure that the questions that came out of the test bank, it says specifically to give an example so you would know. So don't expect to get more than 2 points if you don't give examples, okay? And then again, 10 multiple choice, no short answers, just the 2 essays. So back to the first discussions in explaining the different types of customers. This should be, again, very easy for everybody to relate. Does anybody want to take a stab at it, explaining the different types of customers? How would you start that essay, or how would you answer that multiple choice question if it was one? Natalia, I see you opened your mic. Are you answering?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me, Ms. Buller?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. How I think I would start that question off, I would first say who a customer is, which is a customer is someone with whom we exchange value, and then I would go into stating the 2 different types of customers, which are external and internal customers, and then I would explain what each of them is, which is external customers are people who we exchange money for goods and services, and internal customers are people who we exchange work for wages, which are employees.
Okay. Okay, very good. And then do you remember the competencies? Can you remember one of them?
I know the ability to I think it's communicate effectively. I think that you should be able to ensure that information is passed on to others who should be kept informed, and they should be passed on in a timely manner and should be expressed clearly and effectively when speaking or writing.
Okay, and so that would you give an example? Say, for example, you should have the ability to communicate effectively. For example, like you said, pass on, disseminate information properly. correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Passing on.
Whistling. Okay, sorry, you were going to say something else?
No, I was just going to repeat what you said.
Oh, okay, good. Good, Whistling. What's the next competency? Alicia? Okay, what about you, Stephen?
Is time management skills one? If I'm correct, I think it's time management skills I would use as one.
Okay, so it's ability to use empowerment, ability to manage knowledge and share ideas, ability to manage change, and predisposition to continuous improvement. Okay, and so if you were to add then ability to manage knowledge or share ideas,
Okay.
what example can you give?
To give ideas would be to look at to what the company offers, and then you find an idea that customers would gravitate towards, and you would have to find a way to advertise that, as well as finding the correct time to promote such an idea that would drive customers to want to purchase that product.
Okay. Okay, good. So just ensure that whichever the competency is you select, if it's required to put in the essay, you just give a little example to go along with it so that you can get the full points. You, like I said, you don't have to list all 6 of them, or you don't have to like just regurgitate, but just be able to, like I said, comprehend and then explain. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, so they are the 6 competency is just a refresher. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so in terms of the competency is that's the expectation. These are the ones I know a lot of times we try to put them into our own words, but again, just for clarity, please ensure that these are the ones that we are referring to for the purpose of this course, and you want to stay as close to these and explain them as would be shared in the lecture to ensure that the person's marking the exam understands what you're trying to say, because a lot of times we put half of it, or we just make a statement and we don't clearly explain it. So the safest thing to do is, once you would have made some statements, ensure that you just explain yourself. Okay, and so again, they are the competencies. If you have any questions, let me know if you want to interject now and answer the questions. If not, at the end, if you just want me to continue, any questions regarding the competencies or the different types of customers? Are we clear on the type of examples that we're giving so far and the expectations and to who the customers are and Again, the 6 core competencies, again, you don't need to know all of them. Don't just remember, be able to explain. And this is how you develop your introduction, then to move on into your body. But ensure, like I said, the questions have 3 parts. You can, write 2 to 3 lines on each part just to mention, to show that you covered the entire essay. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so explain what banks have done to enhance customer service.
I would say the increase of online banking services.
Okay, excellent, very good. Did we have some problems surrounding, did I share a problem that we had surrounding the online banking service? Do you remember that?
I can't remember.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Okay, and so what I said is on the retail side, and this was just experience in Royal Bank, but it could have happened in many other banks. I just don't have that data. But on the retail side, when online banking came along, it was very popular. And automatically they injected loads of money into the trust company, into private banking, for our side to be able to offer online banking to our customers. We turned off a lot of things. Remember when I told the story that we turned off the fax machine, we no longer accepted written notes. I think on the commercial side, we did away with all the books, and then we found out later that our customers were over the age of 60, had never used a computer, were not technologically savvy, and if they couldn't fax or handwrite their letters, they just simply closed their accounts, and so we lost a lot of business. And so whilst it was a positive thing on the retail side, it caused a problem on the the offshore side because of the the demographic, the dynamics of the customer. Okay, their age, their ability to use the computer, their trustworthiness, because they just don't trust all these things online. A lot of them don't even have an ATM card because they don't trust that the machine would be able to give them the right denominations, right? And so if the question calls for, what type of developments have there been, and what are there any challenges, that could be an example. What other developments?
Saturday banking.
Okay, yes, very good. Very good. Saturday banking.
Yes.
Also, in some of the loans departments, they offer now that they come out to your business. You don't necessarily have to come into them between 9 to 5. Or they have offered like extended hours, and you can go up to 7 p.m. Okay, so very good. Okay, so any other questions on what they have done? A lot of persons have been trained. The banks have offered to pay school fees, and AML training is mandatory, and so that is done internally in most institutions each year. But a lot of banks have supported their staff to go and get upgrading or training. They've encouraged that there is not only a I guess on your performance appraisal, you also have to do a personal development plan. A lot of banks implement it to ensure that their staff are staying abreast of what's current. They go to seminars, and they've supported many individuals by paying school fees. So training has also been enhanced, and the regulators have also made it mandatory. And so normally, like I worked in audit for a very long time, and we go into institutions and we do an audit and there's a deficiency in one area, we automatically ask for the CVs for everybody in that department to see if persons are fully qualified, or we have a good mix of persons. And it doesn't mean that everybody needs to have a degree or some form of certificate, but if there's no degree, then we need some experience. We need somebody in that department with at least 10 years experience and or some degree. And if that's not the case, then we say, okay, some persons either have to go home or some persons have to go in training. And then you would find that we give 2 to 3 years an action plan that this person has committed to going to training, and we will check back periodically to ensure that the person will have successfully completed a course or something to that nature. Okay?
Mhm.
So, any questions? Because again, it was hopes that you would have gone out, done some research, come back, and we have a discussion, and you would tell me where you need help or give some feedback.
Can we
What
include
about,
customer appreciation events?
Yes, again, it's once it's explained, and again, how would you explain? Tell me how you would.
For example, well, when I was in branch and it was a customer's birthday, we would come out and sing happy birthday and give them a token. Can that be used as well? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, my mic was muted, sorry. Yeah, so definitely it was a way to enhance customer service, and they normally have monthly incentives for the customers as well, like an on-the-spot financing or a credit card specifically for teachers, or various different incentives. So yes, definitely, the customer appreciation is very relevant, and again, it is to enhance customer service.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other question? 15 points.
what about 24 telephone contact hours, 24-hour telephone contact services that banks offer? Could that also be used as an example?
What is it? Telephone?
24-hour telephone contact services. I know there are some banks that offer that.
Okay, yes, definitely, because again, is it new? I mean, I don't know if it's familiar. I mean, I know if it's your credit card, you can call 24 hours a day or something related to your debit, and there's somebody there to provide banking information.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Like I said, once it's relevant and you can explain it, then definitely.
Okay.
And you could say, for example, Royal Bank of Scotia has gone digital. So they now offer 24 hours. You can call a 1-800 number and the person answers and is knowledgeable and can assist you. Not, I have called a particular bank after hours, and they always say, oh, we don't have access to that information. You would need to go into the bank. But all the lines in the bank are turned off, or it's very difficult to reach the staff. So, they say they put it in the name of customer service. However, it does not work. It's not efficient. Again, the same thing with press whilst you wait. They advertise the 2 hours press whilst you wait, and that has never happened. I mean, in my experience, and as well as a lot of other people would have complained, you can never go there and wait on your clothes to be pressed in a minimum of 2 hours. Also, Cable Bahamas says we have 50 people ahead of you. If you would like to leave a message, somebody will call you back in 2 hours, and nobody ever calls you back. And definitely, if they call you back, it's 2 days later. It's never ever 2 hours. Okay, so they may have put some, I guess, things in place to enhance customer service, but are they truly effective? And because they did not follow through, is the customer really getting good service? Okay, so I'm certain it's going to ask you, this is what they did to enhance the service. Does it work? Is it effective? Did it actually enhance the service? Okay, and then of course it's probably going to be applicable to the Bahamas, what happens in the Bahamas, so you can use local um, events or local scenarios that have happened, you know. Okay. Any
Yes.
other questions?
No, that's it for that part.
Okay. Okay, good. So 10 points about the buying process. Who would have documented any?
I tried it. I don't know if all mine are correct, but I tried it.
Okay, so tell me what you came up with.
Okay, so first one is recognizing what the customer needs, and that would be the customer would determine what they're looking for. The second one I have customers need information about the product before buying it. So the company would have to display and tell the customer what it is that they're offering, and that the customer will determine what exactly they're looking for. For the third one, I have customers can be influenced by, customers are influenced by outside members when making a decision. And that could be like the book, I got it from in the book where it talks about how family members and friends who have had services with this particular product or similar products could determine how the customer thinks on buying the product. For the fourth one, I have customers will evaluate several alternatives before making a final decision. For the fifth one, I have customers will look at competitive products before making a decision. Number six, customers will evaluate prices for each product before making a decision. Number seven, customers will search for feedback about the product before buying. Number eight, customers will evaluate their interest in the product to determine whether or not they want to buy the product. And number nine, the customers will buy the product. And number 10, customers will evaluate their engagement of the product after purchasing it and will determine whether or not they like it and whether or not they keep it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that, Stephen. But do you have explanations? If you had to write an essay, do you have explanations to go along with each of those points?
Yes, I can write an explanation for each point. I'm sure I would have to, especially since I would want to make as much points as possible.
Okay, okay, good. So does anybody have anything else to add to that? No?
No.
No? Okay. So what about the 5 stages of the buying process? Would you mention that?
What was in the book, that's where I got some of it from. So, and I
Okay.
think I was able to, one of them, I was able to basically split it in two, which is how I was able to make it out to 10.
Okay. But in what you have, you do have all the entire 5 stages covered, because I would think that would be important to ensure that you at least mention the 5 stages and
Yes,
then
ma'am.
explain at least 2 of them.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I made sure I put all 5 of them in.
Okay. Okay. Very good. And so on to the purchase decision, and then perhaps what influences purchases. Do you have any information in terms of that?
Yes, ma'am. I said persons can be influenced by family members who've either purchased this product before and have either good or bad experiences with the product, as well as persons uh, who research the product and they see the reviews for it, whether they be negative or positive or mostly negative, that will affect how the customer determines whether or not they want to buy the product.
Okay. Okay, good. So what about socioeconomic interests? Jehovah's Witness. Would you document anything about how they influence? Or Catholics, or
Yeah. But I think that would definitely be a part of when I talk about how the family influences the customer. So that would be based on their neighborhood background, their religious background, and even their financial backgrounds, depending on how the family, the values that each family member would have placed inside the customer. That would also be determined by the customer before making the decision.
okay. Okay, very good. Very good. Anybody else? Any other questions on the buying process? Okay. The 5 Ps, the differences between gaming houses, insurance companies, and credit unions. Any questions, or everything that we would have done on last week is still familiar and there are no questions? Okay.
I don't have any questions at this time, but once I go back through the recordings, I'm able to refresh my memory and I'm good from there.
Okay. Okay, very good. Again, this review is to help you. If you have no questions, we can move straight through. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Again, there are 5, I guess that's the magic word. When it comes to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, let me see, I think that was the beginning of chapter 12. 5 stages. Physiological, he said that needs are classified, or they are split into 2. Physiological needs are concerned with physiological well-being and includes food, drink, warmth, sex, and sleep. Psychological needs focuses on emotional or mental well-being and includes needs for belongingness, acceptance, and affection. Again, Maslow says that a need is not satisfied or no longer motivates you if a need has been satisfied. Or another, let me read it how it says. Maslow argued that lower order needs, such as physiological needs, must be satisfied before higher order needs such as self-actualization is fulfilled. So the lower order needs have to be filled before the higher order needs. And so I gave the example, I don't know if persons would have remembered um, that I could be on the way ready to shop in Miami and I'm all excited. Um, I have enough money to spend and this will satisfy my social need, my need for relationships, affection, and belongingness. However, if there becomes turbulence in the plane, I am no longer concerned about the sales or the mall or how much money I have, because now my safety need is at risk. And so therefore, um, my concerns are now where I'm even going to live to be able to shop. Okay. And so we would have proved that from those type of examples that the safety needs or the lower level needs have to be satisfied in order for the higher order needs to even matter. And I think there are one or two multiple choice questions. So you want to ensure that when it speaks about self-actualization, you actually know what self-actualization is. And so you can answer correct.
Miss.
Um, Physiological, food and shelter. Go ahead.
Oh, you cut out for a bit. I wasn't able to hear what you were saying.
Me either.
Okay. Okay. So which part in terms of what I said that there are some multiple choice questions on the hierarchy of needs. So um, I want you to ensure that you know safety needs, which falls under the safety needs, which falls under the self-actualization, which falls under the physiological needs. And then
Okay.
I said also that lower order needs have to be satisfied in order for higher order needs to matter. And I talked about going on a shopping trip. Remember, I talked about that in another lecture. Whereas if you're going on a shopping trip, you may be all excited, worrying about the sales, want to ensure you have enough money. However, if you, and that will satisfy your social need, but you will no longer be motivated by the shopping and the money or the trip if there's turbulence on the plane and you don't even know if you're going to make it there any longer, right?
Right. Okay.
Right.
Right, right. Okay, so just so you have that understanding and to ensure that each of the categories, you know, what would fall under esteem, what would fall under safety, what would fall under self-actualization. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Um, let's see. And then I put review pages 145, 176, 180, and 190 for the multiple choice questions. And again, I didn't give you all the pages, but I gave you, you know, a hint as to some multiple choice questions was taken from here or there. And again, there will not be a repeat of what you had on the midterm exam. So if you would have seen it on the midterm exam, don't focus on that so much because we would have tested you on that already and those grades came back satisfactory, and so we don't need to test you on that again. Again, we also had homework on chapters 9 and 10, and like I said, some of those pages are listed there. And so again, if you would have had that on homework, you know, focus on the other parts of the pages, you know, that I listed. And again, it's only 10 multiple choice questions, and um, in the past, with the multiple choice questions, I guess you found it pretty easy because most persons got very high scores on the homework. Almost everybody got more than 80%. And same thing with the midterm, you know, for the most part, very, everybody definitely passed. So, you know, there's no issue there. Okay. So are there any questions? You feel like you're comfortable? Um, you ready? Some questions there on social class, some on cultural differences, one or two on organizational buying, and then the essays. And again, once you would have answered all parts of the essays, not just put fluff there or talk about what was discussed in the, in terms of review or for the previous essays. If you actually answer the questions, then you should do fairly well, and I have no concerns. Okay, so if
Okay.
you don't need any more explanation and you feel like you have the down path and the review sheet is sufficient and you can walk away with it, then I'm fine. Again, this session was just for you to ask questions. If you had any concerns, if you had any queries, but if not regarding the exam, then I'm satisfied with the information that was shared, and for the most part everybody has been receptive and um, very attentive, and it's been relayed in the um, like I said, in the homeworks as well as the exams. And so therefore I think that everybody is prepared and they have sufficient um, information to be, again, show their understanding and their comprehension on the exams. Okay, because that's what we're looking for. um a lot of times, people just have good memories, but when you have good memories, and this is a customer service class, and so we do hope that what was learned or taught here or what we shared, we would be able to find it beneficial and go back into our institutions and deal with the corporate culture and make some the necessary changes, because like it starts with each one of us. And so I hope that you would have found it beneficial. I hope that you can go back to your institutions and add it to their values and their goals, and it's beneficial, and in the end everybody is successful. Okay, so if most of what we did was just for practice, because these things sometimes happen in the real world, and sometimes you don't have time to prepare, and so therefore you would have done this before, and it should have raised your comfort level. And um, when if you are called on the spot one day, you would have at least had an opportunity to practice and be a little bit more comfortable and be successful should the need ever arise. Um, One last thing in terms of um, the 5%, I want to ensure that everybody who should have gotten it um, received it. Um, is there anybody who did not attend the sessions with um, I forget the lady's name, the Rotary Club, or anybody else who I was waiting to um, for the 5%? Everybody would have their 5%. Stephen?
Yeah, you already asked me about mine, and I had give my feedback about it. That's what you're
Okay,
referring.
okay. I know I was one or two persons. I guess I would have to go back and look in my notes to make sure that everybody, when I would have submitted, your point out of 30 to the institute. Okay, so if there are no more questions and everybody's comfortable, and then that's it. I say thank you. It's been different but a pleasure. And like I said, I'm happy that with the grades so far, and I do hope that you found it beneficial. And again, it's just the first level of customer service. Um, we need to, with all this training, not just, a lot of people just they want to pass. They don't really, they're not concerned whether or not, they learn anything or they change any behaviors. But if you are making investment into yourself, um, you know, when you go back to work, and we know there's a issue all over the Bahamas, in fact, all over the world, you know, from what you would have learned, not only from this class, but from any other class or from your interactions with various persons or from attending Rotary and Kiwanis and on various seminars. You should be able to display some of those attributes and then share with persons who are not afforded the opportunity to, attend class, or who are so swamped that they don't have time to attend the various, um, I guess, civic organizational group meetings. Okay, but I do hope that it wasn't just a one-time thing, and that you do, venture back out, you do network, and you do continue to not only develop your corporate career, but also apply it wherever you go, not only in your institutions. Okay, so if there's nothing else, um, I'm not certain if Miguel would have sent you the instructions for the exams. Um, this is the last call where you let me know that you don't have the right instrument. So there has to, you have to have a laptop, and you have to be able to have a webcam, and you cannot use the phone. And I'm saying this 3 and 4 times because persons still show up to the exam and with their cell phone. And so we are all clear that there's no cell phones, there is no movement, there's no getting up, there's no walking out of the room. All of that will cause you to be blocked out. That is clear.
Yes, that's clear.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fair.
Okay, and so again, like I say, it's being recorded. Please be on time. Hopefully 1 or 2 of you would have gotten a study day, which would help. And primarily when you join the courses, a lot of people don't even know that they could ask for a study day. But if your institution is paying for you to go to school, it doesn't make sense that they don't give you a day to study, and normally is for these courses, you get about 2 days, and as you go up the ladder, you may get a week. It just depends on your institution. But if they're paying, they should allow you some time off, to study. Again, sign on at 6. He is going to send you a code, and the invigilator should be there along with Miguel, and it will be recorded. So ensure that nobody is knocked out of the exam, because there's a disruption. Okay, so if there are no questions about the terms of the exam, everybody understands what they need to do. If you're not going to be there, please just send an email and say, don't expect me on Thursday, and we will not generate a code for you. If with the institute's policy is, if at first attempt the exam is, if you fail it, there's a $150 charge to retake the exam, and you would have to arrange that through the institute. Again, their office will, I'm not allowed to give out grades. They deal with all the grades. I'm not allowed to issue grades. So in 2 weeks, I won't have that grade. You would have to contact the office. Okay, and again, I am confident that nobody's going to pay the 150 and nobody's going to have to resit, because throughout the course, all of the homework, all of the feedback has been positive, very good grades. And so I don't foresee anybody having, to resit. So again, if you have any questions or concerns, just let me know. If you're not going to be there, send it in writing, please. So I will let the institute know in writing, so they don't get a code for you, and so you're not charged that 150. So please let me know.
Okay, will do.
Okay. And again, if you feel like you need more time and if you're not available on Thursday to sit the exam, if that time is not convenient for you, again, like I said, that's fine. You just say, I won't be available to sit the exam. I will send that on to the office, and therefore they will not charge you when you come and actually sit the exam, because it will be your first sitting. Okay? But it has to be, it's a process, because you will not get the same exam that would be administered on Thursday. It's going to be an entirely different exam. And so if you can make yourself available, it would be in your best interest, because we would have already completed the review and what's have you. For the most part, you would have gotten all the relevant information. Again, the questions are in a test bank. They will pull out another set of questions that'll be similar, but it is best that if you are available and can make it, try it and be there. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. So good luck to everybody, and if nothing else, it was a pleasure, and I hope to see most of you again.
You will.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, so good evening, and you all take care. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you. We'll make you proud.
Good evening.
Thank you. I'm sure you will. I'm sure. That's why I said I don't even have to mark these exams myself. I'm so confident that everybody will do well, and the 2 markers will also. I am certain that, because like I said in the past, I normally mark last. So I ensure that, the grades, I know my people, I know their expectations, but I'm not marking it all this time, so there's no controversy. And the office, like I say, if you still have a query or concern, you contact the office directly.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay. All right, good. Take care.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, good evening.
Hi, Ms. Bullard. Ms. Bullard? Hi, Ms. Bullard.